Welcome back. We are using things up today. I'm excited about it. I've got out the butternut squash. I'm hoping that they are still good. They're still hard, but they have a bit of questionable outside. I have some water boiling so we can get these boiled up. And I plan to make a butternut squash sauce over gnocchi. So we are using things up for this pantry challenge. This is the sweet potato gnocchi. We're going to be using some of that. I'm also going to make a sweet potato, what would we call that? Enchilada casserole type of thing. So we are going to try to use some of the sweet potato, all things sweet potato today. I also have out the last of what I have for the tortillas. There's not very many, but we will use them. And then also on my list to use up is these apple gouda chicken sausages, which we will put in with the gnocchi. And reaching to get it is the spinach from 2023. So we are going to use all these things up, and I need to see, well, let's get this back in the freezer because these need to stay frozen. All right, what do you think the verdict's gonna be? Do you think these are still gonna be good? Should I peel them first and then cut them, or cut them then peel them? Okay, I'm thinking peel them first. I've never cooked a butternut squash. Okay, this is working. That didn't take long to figure out. Did I maybe cut the end off? Yeah. Okay, this still looks good. Great. So my plan is to boil this, get it soft, turn it into a puree, and then that'll be the sauce. After this boils, we can boil the pasta, cook up the chicken, and then my plan is also to put these in the freezer as freezer meals, or maybe keep a couple out for this week. But I'm going to have some busy days where I'm going to need some freezer meals, and so I think the individual size freezer meals is what I would like to do. I wonder if it's gonna be like a zucchini where it turns my hand orange and is all funny. I think this part will just come off when I cut the end off. Okay, ooh. Smells good still. There's seeds, should I save them? Probably. Well, I just cut through most of them. That smells delicious. Okay. Do the other one, and then we'll get them chopped up. Oh wait. I did not find a good way to peel that the entire time, but let's get this chopped into some pretty similar sized pieces, and then we'll get it boiling and start on the next thing. I don't know what the next thing is yet. I'm just happy that this year I'm using this up. Last year didn't ever get to the one tiny little one that I had, so such a win. Okay, let's see if I got a pot that's big enough for this. Whoopsies. I just cleaned the stove, so we're okay. All right, next up we are making the enchilada, not a casserole, it's like a stovetop thing. And I'm going to get some oil to saute some onions. And this is so nice because we're using frozen onions from the garden, which is great. Although this is all the onions I have left in my house, I believe. I don't think I canned any onions. I think those are all gone. And I don't have any fresh. I do have the sauteed onion pucks that we'll use for the other recipe, but I need to buy some onions. So I'm going to leave like one recipe's worth there. We're gonna get those sauteed up. And then in the meantime, I'm going to get all of these jars open. I need to drain the sweet potatoes, drain and rinse the black beans. We have 2 jars of salsa verde here. So I'm just gonna get everything prepped. All right, our onions are doing good. I'm going to get the chicken in. It's been in a cold water defrost. I got distracted there because there was a piece of ice on the back of the chicken. And I'm doing ground chicken. The recipe calls for ground turkey, but it's all poultry, so it'll work out fine. And while we have that cooking, oh, you know what? I didn't add any garlic. Let's do that. I am going to add some salt. Actually, maybe a little more. Some pepper. A little bit of chili powder. Smoked paprika. Tiny little bit of cumin. And then also a tiny little bit of cayenne. Alright, let's check to see if these are tender. I don't know how long they're going to take. Oh yeah. Well, that one's not. Okay, we're gonna let these go for a little while longer. Alright, I think we are there. Let's add in our sweet potatoes and our black beans. And then also this is salsa verde that I canned up. And I don't currently have any green enchilada sauce, so I'm just going to use another jar of this. And I did add a little bit of sugar in it because I tasted it and it was pretty bitter. So I think that'll help the flavor just a bit. Okay, let's mix it around. And those sweet potatoes are just gonna fall apart, but that's okay. Looks good though. We need to get the tortillas in. It called for 5 or 6. I have 4. I think that'll be fine. So I'm going to, oh, I guess I can't do them all at the same time. I'm just gonna tear them instead of cutting them just into some pieces. I think that'll be fine. You know, I didn't put these on my list, but these definitely needed to be used up. Maybe I'll add it to the list just so I can check it off. Do you guys do that? Have you ever made a to-do list and added something to it that you've already done just for the purposes of checking it off? Okay, we gotta mix this in. Okay, let me turn this to a low so we can simmer it on low. I need to add some cheese. And I did just shred my own cheese, oops, but I still have other cheese that I want to use up first. And this is just a Mexican style blend. Oh, I forgot to taste it first. Oh well. Hopefully the flavors are right. Get the lid on here and we'll let it go for about 5 minutes. Okay, let's check these butternut squash again, and this time they do feel like they are fully cooked and ready to go. I'm debating between if I want to put these directly into my container or rinse them, and as you can see, I decided cooling them off would be a little bit better of an idea because that container that I'm going to use to blend them is plastic. So let's make the sauce. I added about 4 ounces of milk, some salt, pepper, and then sage, and then quite a bit of that Parmesan, and that's a dairy-free Parmesan, which has been great. So here I'm blitzing it up with my new immersion blender. This is the Ninja brand. You guys, I love Ninja brand. They've never sponsored me, not sponsored at all, but I just love their products. So I'm tasting it, and you can't tell what I said, but I said it tastes like baby food. So I decide it definitely needs a lot more of those spices, and then I blended it up again, and after that, everything was great. I'm now getting out the chicken sausages, and I am just going to quickly chop these into little round pieces, and then we will get these sauteing on the stove. And the goal here on the stove was to try to get them into a single layer, like single file layer, and I want to get these completely golden brown crispy on both sides because that'll just add to the flavor. And I did need to add some onions, and these are the like onion sauteed onions from Target, and I have actually been loving them. You could saute onions on your own and then freeze them, but I just haven't done that. And then you did just see me add in quite a bit of garlic. So here I am pushing them around, trying to get them into that single file layer, and I am of course voice recording here because I accidentally filmed on the wrong setting. So that's why you're hearing me after the fact. But we are getting these cooked through, and this is the last of the 2 recipes. You can see that I did add a lid to the enchiladas back on the back part of the burner, and I had to seal one of the handles because I only have 2 handles and I have 3 pots out. So once we get these all nicely cooked up on the bottom, I will give them a flip, and we are just about ready to get started on cooking the gnocchi. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner that we have the water boiling. All right, into the water these gnocchi go, and these gnocchi are frozen. Whenever you have homemade gnocchi, unless you just made them and you want to cook them fresh, you always want to cook them from frozen, because otherwise if you let them thaw, they'll get like gooey. And I did decide that I only wanted to cook half of that batch at once because the water does drop in temperature when you add the frozen gnocchi in, and I didn't want it to drop for too long. And so I did just add in all of the spinach and got that mixed around. And now we're adding the gnocchi into the sausage, and then we will move on to round 2. This was pretty satisfying trying to grab all those gnocchi out. A lot of times pasta seems to just get like stuck and you can't find it. But the sweet potato color of this gnocchi made it so much easier to find them. So we are going to get batch number 2 going, and I think I cut it out because I didn't have the audio, but batch number 2 almost completely overflowed, and I lifted the pot up. Luckily the handle wasn't too hot, and like picked it up into the air for a while so it would cool down, and I avoided a big mess of overflowing starchy water. You just saw me add some mozzarella to the dish, but oh my gosh, I haven't had a big spill on this stove yet because this stove is still pretty new. And I thought for sure this was it. This is going to be the first big spill. So we are continuing to mix. I have all of the gnocchi in here now, and we are pulling this dish together. I am going to put in some of this sauce, and I don't think it needs all of this sauce. I think this is probably enough sauce for 2 meals. And then I start mixing it around, and I feel like it's just way too thick, especially after sitting for a little while. And so I add another squeeze of milk, and then I get this all mixed together, and it comes together very nicely. These are flavors I don't typically use, so it was cool to try something new. Here's how the enchilada meal turned out. Looks delicious. And here's how the gnocchi sausage bake looks. Also looks delicious. Okay, now something odd. I haven't done even a little bit of a taste test other than the sauce, which I did thin out quite a bit more. And I have enough sauce to make another meal. So that's great. All right, the lighting is crazy today. It keeps changing. It's like the sun goes behind the cloud, comes back out, goes away. Let's give this one a try first. That is very good. Oh, that's so good. And I didn't even get like a tortilla in there. Switch my fork around, try this one. This is the one I would be more skeptical about because it's like so far out of my wheelhouse of what I usually make. This is gonna be hot though. Hopefully all these flavors go well together. This is the sweet potato gnocchi, butternut, let me not do that. Did you guys see that coming? I'm like, that was close to my eye. Sweet potato gnocchi used up, chicken sausages used up, butternut squash used up, and 2023's spinach used up. That's fantastic. This one's like, I mean, both of them used up a lot, but that's fantastic. There's a lot going on here, but it all goes well together. Okay, that's actually so good. I think the sauce being just a sauce is great. On its own as a puree was kind of overpowering. Thinning it out was a great idea. That is so delicious. Also, I think I'm gonna start using recipes with parm again, because now that I have that dairy-free parm and I verified that is not what caused my migraine one day, I thought maybe it was. And so I can get that flavor without having the actual parm. This is so delicious. Okay, you should definitely make both of these too. These are some great pantry challenge meals. Win. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. If you're interested in some other easy dinner meals, I will pop them here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.